This video contains heavy spoilers for Fast X, and now, let's proceed with the video. After seeing Fast X, this is my opinion of all the Fast and Furious villains ranked from worst to best. Oh, and before we continue with the list, as a quick point of reference, there will be no side characters, side henchmen, or people with very little screen time, so Phoenix here from Fast and Furious 4 will not be counted. And he is, by far, one of my favourite villains in this franchise. So let's continue. In last place for me with this franchise is Arturo Braga from Fast and Furious 4. Now, like I said with Phoenix, if he was the main villain, he'd definitely be top 5 because he actually did something impactful for the time, because we know her death really doesn't mean anything. He killed Letty. Now, what did Braga do? He went halfway across the border, he just ran away. The plot twist, it was bland. He's a very forgettable villain, and that's why he's at last. 10th place for me is going to DK from Tokyo Drift. He's also forgettable like Braga, but he kinda has an impact for the third act. He races Sean down that big huge mountain. I don't know, they could have just done better with him. Now just hold on, hear me out before my comment section turns into a storm of hate. I have a reason why he's so low, but come on, Hobbs and Shaw. Already a terrible movie in my opinion. If the villain is the best part of your movie, you're either doing something really good, where your villain is very well thought out, which he wasn't, or you're doing something very bad, where he makes your movie, which shows how terrible I think this movie is. Number 8 is Court of Rome from Too Fast, Too Furious. Now look, in my humble opinion, Too Fast, Too Furious is a top 3 Fast and Furious movie from all 11. Yes, I'll count Hobbs and Shaw, fine. But he is, although he is sometimes bland, he does make an impact in the third act of the movie, which is why he's ranked so high. Lucky number 7 goes to Owen Shaw from Fast and Furious 6. Is he a good villain? Yes. Is he impactful? Kinda. Is he memorable? For me, not really. After 6, he kinda goes under the radar. In 7, he's in a coma, I believe. In 8, he comes back as an anti-hero. It's just a big mess. In the movie, he was great. Afterwards, he wasn't so good. Real quick, I would like to say that these next entries I did enjoy, and they did have a very good impact, even after the movies that they were in, and I really liked them. So, with that said, let's continue with number 6, Johnny Trap, the OG Fast and Furious villain for many from the very first Fast and Furious movie. Now, in later films, of course, some people are going to see him as very down-to-earth in the sense that he doesn't do anything, to be honest, in this movie, and he really only appears in the third act. Now, I know you're wondering, why is he so high on the list? It's because I have a special place in my heart for the first 3 Fast and Furious movies, and of the 3, I really think he was the best villain, which is why he's in number 6. Kicking off the top 5, Hernan Reyes from Fast and Furious 5. Now look, of course, he could be seen as a generic villain. He hides behind his henchmen for about 95% of the movie, and he never comes into physical contact with any of the protagonists until the very, very end of the movie, where Hobbs basically just kills him. Also, the reason I've not included Hobbs as the main villain of Fast 5 is because he does end up becoming a hero, which can be said for many villains in this series, but Reyes just seems to have more of a negative impact. Number 4, Cypher from Fast and Furious 8, or as they had to butcher the name, of course, The Fate of the Furious. Now, it's a terrible movie, terrible name. Yes, I hate the movie. Honestly, I think it is possibly the worst Fast and Furious movie. Now, as a villain, she is pretty great. In the movie that she takes the lead antagonist role, she really does have an impact. She kills Elena. She is responsible for recruiting Jacob, which kind of sets up 9 in a way. And she really does drive the plot in a good way. Going into our top 3, Jacob Toretto from Fast and Furious 9, or F9 The Fast Saga. At this point, they're just getting way too out of hand with the names, but back to the list. Now, he is a very, very good villain, which is why he's in the top three. But the reason he kicks past both Cypher and Reyes is because we now know from the movie that he is connected to the family in the past. Although we have no previous recollection of him, he does make a very, very good impact. And I do kind of like the hero turn at the end. Number 2, the runner-up spot goes to Dante Reyes from Fast X, Fast and Furious 10, our most recent installment. He is vindictive, sadistic, psychotic, but he's also hilarious, kind of on the side. So, yeah, it's a revenge-driven plot kind of movie, but he is completely justified. They killed his father in 5, and I do see it going places since there will be sequels. But as part of the plot, and since there is spoilers in this, he does have a big impact. He killed Jacob, my favourite character in the series. I will say that wholeheartedly. He was my favourite character. And he's made Dominic's life a living hell. He's gone to Rio and destroyed just countless lives. And I can't wait to see what they do to him in the future. And number 1, Deckard Shaw from Furious 7. Now, although Dante Reyes is a near-perfect villain, Deckard is flawed, but he is by far the best villain in this entire franchise. For the time where he was introduced, he killed Han, he blew up the house, the Toretto family house, he put Hobbs in the hospital, so he was out of the movie for 80%. And he's also just destroyed countless lives from the hospital, from the opening scene. He's killed multiple people. And he's basically destroying the world at this point. But I will also say, if he was more of a full-fledged villain, he could have easily taken top spot. However, he does take the top spot in this ranking.